York Area Lambda became very involved in, there was a movement to change the ordinance through the Human Relations Commission for York City to include sexual orientation. And we became very involved in that as York Area Lambda. I remember meeting and organizing around that issue. We took out a full-page ad, and we asked people to help us pay for that ad, and it was a signature ad. So we asked people in the community to state publicly that they supported the addition of sexual orientation to that ordinance. So, of course, there was a strong anti-gay element of the community. They were supposed to bring in this man named Paul Cameron, who is famously anti-gay. I mean, that's how he makes his living, is going around talking about gay men and gerbils and that whole kind of thing that you don't hear so much about anymore, although Paul Cameron is still around. Anyway, he came to York, and we really just organized around that in many ways. We had little pink triangles, and we went down the night of the vote for city council, and we either had pink triangles or we had rainbow ribbons with pink triangles with a pin in them. And there was a long line of people waiting to get into the city council meeting to state their opinion about whether or not that ordinance should be passed. So we went down that line and offered people our little pink triangle and our rainbow ribbon and said, you know, by wearing this, you show support of the change in the ordinance. So some people, you know, cursed at us, and some people accepted that and pinned it on, and it was a visible symbol of their support for the ordinance. I mean, we really tried to do some things to move the community to understand that it was something, that it was a good thing and a needed thing to be able to add sexual orientation protection to the Human Relations Ordinance for York City. We also managed to get, this was a pure fluke, and it was because I knew some people that through my job at the YWCA, we also managed to get gender identity, and the best we could do, we couldn't get it into the ordinance because the attorney, the city's solicitor, was against it. And I remember saying to him, I had him on the phone, and I remember saying to him, I guess it was, we got in gender identity under sexual orientation, but the word transgender is what he objected to. And I remember saying, he said, you know, that should not be in this ordinance. Although he was supportive of sexual orientation, he was not supportive of transgender. And I remember saying to him, well, we really need to get in gender identity because those folks are really discriminated against. And because he didn't know that gender identity, transgender is a part of gender identity, we were able to get in the words gender identity, although not as a separate protected class. It's folded into sexual orientation. Sexual orientation, the definition of sexual orientation included or other gender identity.